And welcome back to this Jones once again, man, Bomb Mom, .com. Welcome back to Be or Not to Be. I'm playing as Ophelia because apparently you have to in this story that started out as Hamlet's, but now it's turned into Ophelia's. I wonder if that's how Shakespeare himself had done it in his play. I've really read all of Hamlet, as I said that before, but yeah, Ophelia and Hamlet have now come up together with a way to get revenge on Claudius, who murdered Hamlet's father, his dad, in modern day terms. Look at me using the old English terms. But yeah, I guess this is rubbing off on me a little bit too much, this game. But anyway, yeah, let's just get down to it and see what happens now. Poison in the air, done before we know it works. Stabs, not always fatal. I saw a dude get stabbed in the legs and pull out the sword. It was awesome, Hamlet. Oh jeez, stabs in the eye. Always fatal? Probably. Suffocation, oh jeez. Easier if Claudius is sleeping, harder if Claudius is awake, but not to suffocate. But easy enough if Claudius is in space. Drowning requires water. The explosion requires explosions. The implosion, even harder but not very fun. Ah, jeez. Bladder explosion requires water, no bathrooms, social pressure. Old age requires patience, literal definition of murder. Murder but make it look like old age requires makeup? In this case it would be face paint. Guys don't wear makeup, not even dead guys. It's face paint on dudes. Get him to read a book that's just like the murder he committed, and then I'll get notice and confirm his guilt, and then we can stab him. Requires book. Also, seems like stab would be easier. They can accidentally pass a law that says he has to be murdered before the law can be appealed. Note Hamilton insists we put this here because it's crazy enough to work. Blast him into space, in which case the ghost came back while whenever we were writing this is a vast vacuum and there's no air, see suffocation. Looking over the list, you decide to strip it down a little before you make your choice. You come up with a short list of sin's contenders. Stabs, this is the simplest way, and there's swords here like everywhere. Drowning, as you could think you could make it look like an accident. Blasted into space because Hamlet insists on it. Did they even know about outer space in Shakespeare's time? And also the stupid one because again Hamlet insists on it. Hamlet is pretty satisfied with the list. Your call, Ophelia, he says. Oh jeez. Oh man, well I just want to see what happens if I do this, because they couldn't even do that at the time. Awesome, I'm so glad you chose this option. Awesome, Hamlet says. I'm glad you chose this option. So now it seems everyone who's in this course of action Ophelia. Okay, so yeah, exactly. Okay, so space travel hasn't been invented yet. Even if it ever will be, I don't know, because I'm from history too. So this is going to be a bit tricky. Even Hamlet spent most of his trying to invent rocket ships, but this old-timey technology was just like tops and stuff. So needless to say, it doesn't work. However, a few months into your research, you begin to think you can't reach the stars. Second best seems so bad. But soon Hamlet get Claudius drunk and tie him to a giant whisker basket attached to a hot air balloon, which is the thing Indignant to invent. I thought hot air balloons didn't exist till the 1800s, because I know that was used in the Civil War. part of the reason it was called the first modern day war. And he slammed him so high up that he suffocates to death in his thin arm up there, and then the balloon explodes towards the world atmospheric pressure, and then when his body hits the ground it explodes too, so I guess this saying isn't wrong after all. And really, revenge is a dish best served at slightly below body temperature, dropped from a great height, and observed from a safe distance. The end. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. I fucking what was that 5 minutes anyway? Wow. Jeez, what's gonna happen here? Which is it now? Goldfish or harm, kissable, wild thing, stuff, possibly to be, not to be again, oh well. Jeez. Miss Bomb 2, stockings be found 1, supposed to be 22, wow, times removed, 1 times 0, times borrowing, lending, there you go. Neither borrow nor lender be, that's Shakespeare as well. Okay, so what happens if I do something else? Okay, so there's let's just see how long I've been recording. Okay, yeah, let's start time. It's still plenty of room for more. Okay, so let's see what happens this. Awesome, says Hamlet. We don't know any matches though, you say. Not a problem, replies Hamlet. For anything, we know our printing studios is studying English literature, also Danish literature. I mean, that's great, but that doesn't make you a writer, you say. Just like being history doesn't make you, I don't know, Julius Caesar. History major, that is. Please, Ophelia, Hamlet says, shaking her hand. Give me a week and you'll have your book. You give him his week. In that week you stay mostly in your room and don't hear much from Hamlet. King Claudius seems happy that Hamlet has disappeared from view, so not much happens. Oh, you do figure out the way to measure the specific gravity of alcohol while Hamlet's busy. That's pretty cool. All one drink requires is a flask that's weighed 3 times. Once empty, once full of water, and once full of liquid nursery, and then you can... But why am I telling you this? You invented the whole technique! Anyway, a week later, Hamlet runs into a room clutching a manuscript. I finished the book, he says. Excellent, can I read it? Let me read it too, you see, for it's one of those amazing red Marlin Adventures chosen novels. You can choose what happens to the main character, choose from over 3 different outcomes. Oh no, you say. Oh yes, Hamlet says, and clears his throat, and holds one hand out in front of him. Well, he shouts from Ackley, is that what you can read? Is it true? Well, is it? You want me to choose here, you ask? Yes, please, Hamlet replies. Options are yes and no. Okay, yes. Let's try saying no, because I don't condone murder, as I said. No, you say. Hamlet wishes that rather than turns a different page and begins reading. Liar! He shouts. You totally killed your boy by poisoning him in the air. You should have moved right now. He then looks at you. You sat back immediately. Your choices are to admit it or not admit, Father says. Yeah, let's just say that for the sake of argument. Case closed, he says, closing the book with a flourish. Hamlet, you say, I love you, but this is a book that sucks. Which is, I was saying and inventing right now, saying it's not a good thing. It really took you a week to write that? Ophelia, Hamlet replies, let's take a moment to 8 years to remember now. right now to remember the writing is hard. Anyway, Hamlet says, if you don't like my book, check out the other book I found. It's way better than my book, we just plagiarize it. Okay. You take the book from Hamlet and read the cover out loud. This is a long-ass title. The Murder of Gonzago, and the adventure is being chosen by you, story. Can you murder Brother Gonzago and then playing into a dead brother's son, murdering your super uncle? I hope so, I hope so. Choose more than 300 different possible endings. I know, right? That's quite the title, you say. Yeah, they use really small type, Hamlet says. Flipping through the book, you can see that it might actually be a very good fit for your purposes. Hamlet, why do we need to plagiarize this, you ask? Can't we just give this copy to read? Oh yeah, says Hamlet. I guess we don't really have to plagiarize it, but I mean we still could though. Why? Why would we want to do that, you ask? Fine, he says, taking the book by coming here up to the front page and rubs out the words by me, Hamlet, as well as the line is drawn through the actual author's name. What about the cover? You didn't change the name back on the cover, you say. Dust jacket. Hamlet says, throw a crumpled up piece of paper into the garbage. Ah, you say, I guess probably recycling wasn't around back then. I would have burned it. And indeed, I would imagine they probably had fireplaces in probably every one of the major rooms of the place, so what gives? Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get the king to read this. Get the king to read this book. Claudius holds court each morning, and they're always looking for new sources of entertainment. Let's do this. Malcolm! Jenkins! No touch thing. Because Malcolm Jenkins, when he played for my Philly Eagles, was part of my Philly Eagles champs in the Super Bowl. And we're going to the Super Bowl in just 1 day from now that I'm recording this. We're going to the Super Bowl tomorrow. And we're going to bring it home again. First thing in the morning, you show up at the royal court. Hamlet's got the book, so all you need to do is observe. Walk around the room and see that everyone's here. The new king, the old queen, your dad, Hamlet's weird friend, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and Horatio, a bunch of people you've never met, the whole gang. You would notice Hamlet talking to Horatio. He's asking him to keep an eye on Claudius as he reads the story. It couldn't hurt. Alright, there's nothing else to do. It's go time. Hopefully Hamlet realizes that too. Turns out he does. Hey Claudius! Hamlet says, brandishing his copy of Gonzago. Why don't you read this book today? I certainly don't see why not, Claudius says. Round passes in the book. Hamlet seems to hesitate on when to go next, but settles on standing behind the king so he can see what he's reading. As Claudius begins to read, you become really intent on what's happening. In fact, you're staring at Claudius and listening with such insane intensity, you always feel like you've become the man himself. In fact, that'd be fun. Oh, interesting! You are now King Claudius. You murdered your brother so you could marry his widow and claim the throne, but don't tell anyone. Just consent to read a book that your new son by Mass Hamlet gave to you. One of the royal court's favorite activities. There you go, favorite spelled incorrectly. Favorite. like they do in Britain. I've never understood why they do that, but anyway. Just read a book aloud because, yeah, that's just fun. And fun is a hard thing to come by, and now we found a way to warm a house without literally starting a fire inside the house that was invented. Oh, they didn't even have fireplaces, wow. As I was saying, you, King Claudius, that's you, don't forget to the summer court. This story is called The Murder of Gonzago, an adventure is being chosen by you story. You look up. The fighter goes on through the tomorrow after that, but my first choice is to skip to the first page, you say. There's a smattering of polite laughter. What now? So I'm not... Okay. Let's see how far this goes. Wow. And that's really cool. It's done in the exact same style as the Choose Your Own Adventure books. This is how it looked back in the day. Alright, cool. And the scissors and visions feed the book within a book. Wow. Foxy wifey. What's this though? Fact and noun? Let's just see how I've been recording now. Okay. Your Battle Pete, or you prefer to be called Dragon Master 3000, since you are the master of 3000 dragons. You are amazing because of all the dragons you control. Plus you really are now... I'll stop there. We say that kind of thing. I'm a skeleton warrior, and you wield a battle axe that has Latin race factor non-verbal written on it. In blood. What's factor non-verbal mean? Ah, I see. Cool. Learn something new every day. You know what that means? That means deeds, not words. Holy crap, this book is already awesome. You've been feeling a little jealous lately because your brother Gonzago gets to be king and occurs to you. Maybe if you killed him and married his wife, you could be king instead. Maybe you should do that. Or maybe you should just say some skeleton warriors. Nice, this choices winning choices. Awesome. Let's just see what happens if I do this. Skeleton Cove. Mage skill easy. Battle Pete. You pick up your trusty battle axe and stroll into Skeleton Cove, where all the skeletons hang out. You encounter your first skeleton. He bows theatrically and introduces himself as Skellington of the East Coast Skellingtons. I wonder if that's copyrighted, Skellington, because I would have thought that would have been copyrighted. Yes, and Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. Huh. And crying. ask him a few questions. Yeah, just for the sake of argument. I don't understand the emphasis you put on axe, says Skellington, but I'd be happy to answer questions you might have. Your battle axe sends his head flying through the air. Skellington continues flying as his head flies across into the sky. Do not worry about harming me! His head says as it flies over the nearby mountain. As I'm already done this inconvenience, no hard feelings! You grit your teeth and you cover Skellington's still standing body. I hate to cut and run, you say as you through your manly grimaces, his body collapses over the pile of bones. Then you turn away in slow motion. Life to eat you, you say, realizing you really should have done that one blow well. You have two options now. You can go kill more skeletons by joining into skeleton homeland and smashing over there, or you can go home and return to your family. Your country is attacked, well in that case, you know, why not? Population 30,000, oh jeez. Your homeland was just a what's a scat? Attacked by ruthless cutting skeleton invaders, and you alone are last best hope for the bloody eventful counterattack. You decide must counterattack is a preemptive attack, so you join the skeleton homeland, and on the way you start cutting up fools before they can even invade. Things are going really well until you reach skeleton homeland, where it's like 30,000 against 1. You die really quick. Oh, and I didn't mention earlier, but guess what? You die in the book, you die in real life. You blew it and you're totally dead. The end. The end, okay, the end. Okay then? Oh, okay, I'm just clicking on that by accident. I see. Alright, so now what? Who do I get this time? Please tell me something other than not to be. Even if it's just cold fish, oh well. Okay. Choices made 10. Times we're 0, times we're not 0. And that's going to be the end of this chapter, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know, please subscribe and I'll sub back very well.